gentle listener, and welcome to Nocturnal Transmissions, the short horror story podcast that brings you dark tales, both old and new, all performed and produced by your humble narrator, Kristin Holland. This episode, Jez Conolly is back. Mr. Conolly was responsible for Neither, which we featured in episode 151, and Special Collections, episode 202. He has just released a book, Capture Spiral, An Escape from Memory, which is now available through Temporal Boundary Press. We'll put a link in the featured author section of our website. However, you could just type Jez Conolly Capture Spiral into your browser and it'll pop up. In Capture Spiral, Conolly revisits the haunted textures of a 1970s childhood on the Lincolnshire coast, where faded seaside amusements and family silences conceal deeper undercurrents of curiosity, dread, and wonder. Stephen Volk describes the book as a user's guide for a night gallery of childhood origin neuroses and a celebration of the great escape we call imagination. And into Jez Conolly's imagination we take ourselves right now, as Nocturnal Transmissions proudly presents Vinegar and Brown Paper. A good friend of mine is an undertaker by profession. He comes highly recommended, if you're looking to have somebody put in the ground, I mean. I mention this on account of today's little kerfuffle. Good heavens, the stories he's told me over the years. Enough to turn your hair white overnight. I should imagine you lot remember Ron Rapley, that lollipop man who was had up on multiple counts. He was my age, lived with his mother, until she snuffed it, that is. And nothing wrong with living with your mother, by the way, except he kept his in the back bedroom for years after she passed on. I'm not sure that's entirely sanitary. You were a big fellow all his life. Mam told me when you were a lad he started out as a trainee greengrocer. He liked to squeeze the fruit. Evidently he could crush a ripe plum in his fist until he could hand you the stone. Yeah, juice everywhere, mind. He used to collect the stones. Do you remember? Peaches, nectarines, cherries, apricots, dates. Mam said he drew the line at seeds and pips, partly because he preferred the idea of something that was big enough to roll away from the mother tree in order to germinate, rather than escape and be released some miles away in a squirt of fertilizer from some random bird's back passage. This was his natural tendency, you see. Gather up the children, nurture them, keep them close. Trouble was, he didn't know his own strength. When an embrace becomes a grip, that's when problems ensue. The local rag called him the cuddler. Some folks said all he wanted was to be loved. I don't think that accounts for the collection of kiddies' shoes they found in his loft. He'd been dead a month when my undertaker pal got his hands on him. I saw the photographs. And the rest. Jesus wept, what a mess. Although I imagine you're used to that sort of thing. Then there was that former Lady Mayoress, what was her name? Barbara, that's it. Man went to school with her. 1 minute she's getting dolled up for the bingo. She loved a bit of bingo, did Babs. The next, she sparked out in the doorway of her outside toilet on account of a collapsed lung. Unconscious before she hit the ground, and dead by the time they got her out the back of the ambulance. I mean, they wheeled her into the hospital, but it was a lost cause. She'd been gutted to miss the bingo. That week it was the jackpot accumulator. So they wheeled her out of the hospital, and that's when my chum got his hands on her. I have to say, he did a lovely job, set the features beautifully. She was the acme of repose. He once told me that being a funeral director is a bit like being a theatrical set designer. The audience only sees this wonderful recreation, but behind the scenes it's all held together with gaffer tape. If you ask me, it's more like a cross between a family butcher and a flower arranger. Oh, that's not a particularly flattering comparison, is it? I always give him a pat on the back when I see his handiwork. Not everyone can turn a face frozen in that moment of death into, well, as I say, the acme of repose. You see, death doesn't judge. Babs, the former Lady Mayoress, might have had her name above the front doors to the ward they were going to put her in if she'd lived, but all of the corpses leave through the side exit in an unmarked box. Doesn't matter how important you are in life. Oh, sorry. I digress. There's me prattling on about Ron and Babs like they're old friends of mine. That's not what we're here to talk about, is it? I just thought you'd find it interesting. And, well, you know, relevant. Well, I suppose I'd better tell you all about what transpired today. Now, I want to make sure I tell you everything. Let me think. I try and remember how it all happened. Put myself back a few hours. I might shut my eyes so I can concentrate and tell you all about it as though it's happening right now. If you see what I mean. That's what eyewitnesses do, isn't it? Now then, it's about 11:20 this morning, because the postman has not long been. I mean, the usual junk: UPV window replacement, leaflet, 241 pizza vouchers, a life insurance questionnaire with a prepaid return envelope and a free pen. I've got so many bloody free pens. I don't know why they bother. So much waste paper. Ah well, it all goes into the recycling. Then I see Leonard wandering around outside. I think to myself, I'd best invite him in and give him the news. He likes to be kept abreast of developments in the street, does Leonard, even though he forgets everything these days, the poor sod. Ah, well, he can still put one foot in front of the other, so there's that. So I stick my head out of my front door and I call him in. And then I tell him. Well, you should have seen his face. What a picture. Shall I put the kettle on, Leonard, or are you not stopping? I ask this because after coming in through the front door, and once I tell him a bit of news, he dodders through from the hall to the lounge with his little beige jacket half on and half off. He'd unshouldered it upon entering the house, but his arms are still stuffed in its sleeves. The funky chicken springs to mind. "Oh, Peter, what have you done, lad?" says he. "Biscuit," says I. "Oh, yes, please," says he. "Will rich tea suffice for his lordship? A drink's too wet without one, you know," says I. "Oh, have you none of them bourbons, Peter?" says he. "Your mam loves them bourbons." Loved, Leonard. Loved. And though we're out of bourbons, there was a strike in Bourbon land. It's rich tea or nothing. "Oh, go on then, whatever you've got," says he. So I scurried through to the kitchen and put the kettle on, leaving Leonard to stand in the middle of the lounge gawping at the empty chair. He must have stayed rooted to the spot, bolt upright for a good minute, because it's only after the water comes to the boil and the kettle goes quiet that I detect movement and his muffled voice. "Can't hear you," I shout through, arranging the things on the tray. More distant mumbling. "Now then, Leonard, what was that you said?" I shuttled back to the lounge, the tea tray laden and rattling. "I said, what precisely have you done with her, Peter, lad?" Of course, by now he's flumped onto the settee, little beige jacket fully off and folded in his lap. I pop the tea tray down on the coffee table and approach him at speed. "Hold on a tick." I slide a hand down the side between the armrest and the cushion Paddy's now sitting on. Excuse the familiarity, Leonard, but I just need to rescue the clicker. I'm forever fishing for it. I pull out the TV remote control and put it on the coffee table next to Leonard's steaming cuppa. I can't get my head around it, says he, taking a biscuit, snapping it in two, then holding a half between the thumb and finger of each hand while continuing to stare at the vacant armchair. He appears to be adrift in a fugue of geriatric deduction, I suppose you might call it. Take your time, says I. Buried, you say? He looks up at me and finally eats one half of the biscuit. Yes, Leonard, buried, interred, 6 feet under, pushing up the daisies. As I told you when you came in, it's only what she asked me to do. That doesn't sound like Irene. That doesn't sound like your mum, Peter. He looks lost, the poor old bugger. I only saw her a week last Monday. I mean, she looked a bit mardy, I'll give you that. Oh, come on now, says I. She always looked a bit mardy, didn't she? Face like a stunt man's knee at the best of times. She did that. He chuckles and sips his tea. Although I mustn't speak of the dead, says I. I wouldn't worry about it if I were you. It's not like she's here to give you what for, is it? Unless, of course, you believe in ghosts. Don't know if I do or I don't. Either way, I shouldn't imagine she's had enough time to get her act together to haunt me yet. She's not been gone a week. There's probably all sorts of paperwork in the next life. Leonard goes a little bit glassy-eyed at this. I think I've momentarily lost him. And for a few seconds, as a way to win him back round, I dither over going back to the Daily Mail quick crossword that I've half filled in, thinking that him having been a bookkeeper, he might be able to help me with 4 down 6 letters. Accounts book, L something something G something R. Oh, drink your tea, says I. I'll put your 4 sugars in. That's what you have, isn't it? I sit down at the opposite end of the sofa. I'm sorry if it's come as a bit of a shock, Leonard, but you have to understand that, as I say, this is what she asked me to do. Well, he's completely befuddled, the silly sausage. Mind you, it doesn't take much these days. His face is at odds with the rest of him. Hold on a tick. He knocks back most of his copper in the space of 3 big gulps. I think it's enough to zhuzh up his remaining grey matter, which is just as well. A couple of big blinks later, he says, if it were a week Monday when I saw her last, what day did you put her out of her misery? Oh, thinks, when was it now? Says I, trying to shed some light. Must have been Thursday last. So, yes, it'll be a week ago tomorrow, like I say. She'd put the last bit in her 1,000-piece jigsaw. Baked beans. Took her 3 weeks. And she turned to me and she said, Peter, love, you can do me a now if you like. I said to her, now, do you not want your Horlicks first, ma'am? She said, I'll not bother. And while you're at it, don't put my electric blanket on. It'll save on the juice. Thoughtful to the end, you see. Leonard's still blinking away. Well, it's a rum do if you ask me, says he. The other half of the biscuit goes in. Now he's ruminating. I mean, I'm not one to judge, but some folks round here might think it a bit, well, you know, heartless, I suppose you'd call it. Heartless? Right, says I. Is it, though, Leonard? Is it? Really? I watch him scratch his chin with his index fingernail. He's thinking. It's like pouring treacle. I can't make head nor tail of it. He transfers his fingernail from his chin to a spot just above and behind his right ear, in the thick of what little bit of white hair that he's got left. I'm one to talk. As you can see, I've got a fair bit of snow on the roof myself these days. Although it didn't go that way overnight, I hasten to add, I've been building up to it. Do you remember Alice? Says I. Alice, Leonard, your wife, your dearly departed wife, Alice. Not a flicker. All that suffering, is it coming back to you? She used to plead with you to put her out of her misery. You had to live with that for months. A pillow over the face and it would have all been over by the shouting. I mean, I'd have helped you out, but I know she was funny about having other men in the house. Well, that's very kind of you, says he. I think he might be having a memory. It's either that or indigestion. Well, it's academic now, Leonard, says I. Your daughter got power of attorney and they put a do not resuscitate in place, and in the end, poor Alice died screaming in agony over that long bank holiday weekend where they couldn't get an ambulance out. Do you not remember? Of course you don't. I remember. Me and Mam watched it all unfold from across the road. We both went to see her at the funeral parlour. My friend got us in when you couldn't face it. They did a beautiful job on her. Beautiful. I think I'd do a chef's kiss at about this point. So, where precisely is she buried, Peter? Asks he. Your mam, I mean. He drains the last of his tea, and now I definitely think the sugar spruced him up a bit. Yes, 3, 2, 1, he's back in the room. Vegetable patch, says I. I can show you if you like, although there's not much to see. She's between the spuds and the brassicas. I can tell from the look on his face that his mind has turned to Sunday dinner. He's eaten his weight in Mam's Yorkshire puddings ever since he was widowed and had nobody to cook for him. He used to say, "Are you fattening me up, Irene?" Which is funny now. "Oh, I used to love your mother's parsnips," says he. "Drop of gravy, smashing." He's drifting off again, so I give him the come hither and take the cup and saucer off him. We troop through the kitchen, out of the back door, and all the way down to the bottom of the garden. The sun's shining its eyeballs out. We've had a lovely summer, really. Don't you agree? Here we are, Leonard, says I. Here's Mam. Did you want to pull up some onions while you're here? You'll be doing me a favour. Where is she, Peter? Says he. Underground, chum, says I. Well, you didn't expect to see her lying in rest, did you? I don't know what I expected to see, says he. Well, I'm not going to dig her up and show you, says I. You'll just have to take my word for it. Here, have a prod if you like. Come on, get a bit closer. I hand him a bamboo garden cane and point to a spot of soil. Try poking around in that bit. So he dodders forward, shabby shoes trampling all over my garlic bulbs, thank you very much, then starts troubling the earth with the end of his stick. It's when he's bent over double doing that I take a step back. What am I feeling for, Peter? Don't worry, Leonard. You'll know when. Well, aren't you supposed to tell someone, Peter? Says he. I thought when someone dies and you have to tell someone. Well, I'm telling you, aren't I? Only you can't tell anyone else. I shan't tell anyone you told me, I promise, says he. Oh, can I tell my daughter? Oh, dear, says I. I hope we're not going to have a problem, are we? Well, it's just that she's forever asking me what I've been up to, says he. If I can't trust you to keep mum, if you'll pardon the phrase, I'm very much afraid that we are going to have a problem. Take another step back. Oh, she won't breathe a word, Peter, lad, says he. I'll make sure she... Oh, hello, Irene. I thought you were dead. And that's when Mam brushes past me from behind the privet and wallops Leonard on the top of the head with the hoop end of a walking stick. You know when old lasses discover their second wind in a buskew? Well, Mam finds hidden strength when it comes to the kill. All those blows raining in. She's like a lumberjack having to go at a tree trunk with an axe. Over and over and over again. When I can see Leonard's brain exposed, I feel the need to step in. Oh, I think that's enough now, Mam, says I. We don't want to waste the good part now, do we? Of course, by this time she's panting and wheezing a bit. I mean, she's 83, for goodness sake. I don't want to actually keeling over. She's had quite enough exertion for one day. Did I do good, Peter? Says Mam. Oh, you did very good, Mam. Very good indeed, says I. Oh, look at the back of his head, says Mam. It's all hanging out. Shall I get some vinegar and brown paper? Oh, I think it's a bit too late for that, Mam, says I. Let's you and I get some spoons, shall we? It's best when it's fresh. So off she pads to the kitchen. I can hear her rooting around in the cutlery drawer. Talking of which, I'm a dab hand with the garden cutlery, as Mam calls it. Fork, spade, you name it. I sat down and dug up all of those vegetables last year. Parsnips, as big as your head. We were eating the bloody things for weeks. They gave Mam the runs. I have a needle. Leonard had most of them. I'll put something else down next year, will you? She said. So it's carrots and onions and garlic this year. Although I don't imagine I'll get to pull any of them up and eat them now, will I? Anyway, Leonard's preem goes down a treat. We pull up a couple of garden chairs. It's a bit like a picnic. We have some bread and butter with it. Lovely. Oh, Leonard. The poor lad. But needs must. Mam and I haven't eaten properly since that midnight visit to the care home a fortnight ago. So, would have been about an hour later when Leonard's daughter comes calling. She must have driven over to her dad's, noticed him missing from his usual place in front of Cash in the attic, blaring out of the telly. Had a pink fit, then put two and two together. We hear the doorbell ring between mouthfuls. The old lad's noggin was the first to go, then his vital organs, and by the time his daughters are soldering our buzzer, we've polished off most of the rest of him. Just a few scraps and bones left. You'll find the leftovers in a bucket behind the garden shed, although there's really not that much left over, truth be told. There's always some bits that you can't quite manage. The pelvises are the hardest bits to get rid of, so you'll find that. Just not in the bucket. We keep the pelvises in the airing cupboard behind the towels. Picked clean, of course. My undertaker friend's forever rooting bits of pelvis out of the back of the incinerator after a cremation. He won't touch the ones we're lumbered with. He can't get rid of them for love nor money. Stubborn bones, pelvises, osteoporosis notwithstanding. Not quite sure what we plan to do with them all. Oh, I suppose they count as evidence now. Well, there we are then. That's about the size of it. I think I've remembered everything that's salient. Well, apart from the bit where Leonard's daughter runs off screaming and ringing up you fellows on her mobile. Then it must have been about half an hour before the panda car turns up. We have time to enjoy a final glass of cordial in the sunshine before your lads bundle us into the back seat. Shame to waste the last bit of summer. Oh, will I get to see Mam this evening? Only she'll be wondering where I am. I hope you're making her feel comfortable. Try a cup of tea and a couple of bourbons if she starts getting fractious. That usually does the trick. She doesn't respond well to confinement. I tried keeping her under lock and key in her bedroom for a week a couple of years ago. Well, teeth marks in the headboard is all I'm saying. We had to have a little jolly out to the sepsis ward to calm her down. You see, she lacks her meat. How shall we say? A bit gamey. Do you know what I mean? Seasoned, I suppose you might say. She insists is what keeps her so young-looking. You see, you've got the flavour and the experience. That's what she likes. Me too, as a matter of fact. The apple doesn't roll far from the tree. I dare say she is the oldest person you've ever had in custody. Actually, scratch that. I know she's the oldest. So, treat her with respect. You don't want it to get ugly. For the benefit of the tape, Mr. Peter Bradley of 32 Carnwell Crescent stared directly at D.I. Mottershead for the entirety of the interview and only blinked twice in the space of 20 minutes. In this time, D.A. Mottershead failed to make eye contact with Mr. Bradley, electing instead to look down at his notes mostly. D.I. Mottershead sweated profusely throughout, resulting in a rather unpleasant body odour. Well, I say unpleasant. It's what folks like us call the smell of fear. We actually quite like it. Gets our juices flowing. Well, it's been lovely talking with you. We must do it again sometime. In fact, I'm sure we will. I want help, you see. I know some very helpful people. A good friend of mine is an undertaker by profession. Comes highly recommended if you're looking to have somebody put in the ground, or disposed of. Vinegar and Brown Paper by Jez Conolly. You have been listening to a Nocturnal Transmission. Our show is made possible thanks to the support of our Patreon subscribers. A big welcome to our new acolyte, Lammy Damachi. Welcome, Lammy. Now, before we shuffle off into this good night, we would like to thank our cohorts: Heathen Soul, Fangora Brown, Bull Swivney, Jimmy Mack, Doug Standish, Johnny Kelly, Alex Brewis, Kel Wielden, Rachel Brown, Drenny, Tippy Polo, Daniel Kanyankowski, Robert Troy Hampton Peterson, Jerry Taylor, Tim Howard, Evan Dooley, Amanda Moore, Wayne Prince, and Rebecca Gates. Until next time, as always, watch the skies, fear the dark, and don't trust anyone, especially yourself. Good night, gentlemen.